everybody. Thank you for joining us on another episode of What to Watch. I'm Savannah Jones.
And I'm Rex Shervita. Today we have Peter Thurnwald joining us. He plays Alex on the new Netflix series XO Kitty. So thank you so much for joining us, Peter.
Feels great to be here. Thank you.
So tell us first, how was your experience at the premiere in LA? I saw Hello Kitty was there. It looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. There's something so trivial and fun about a giant Hello Kitty standing next to you and you are able to just hug it. It feels
Right.
so great. But the premiere went really, really amazing. I think in general, everyone kind of there was an electric feeling around between both the cast and all the other people that were involved. So I think we're really happy with what came out.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about your character, Alex.
Yeah, so Alex is this super young teacher who ends up coming to KISS, the Korean International School of Seoul, and begins teaching at the same time that Kitty does. And throughout the series, they kind of are able to bond over their, I guess, fish out of wateriness, and kind of that like cultural expat thing of not really being comfortable in the country, but also being related to the country. And that makes them kind of bond and become friends.
So XO Kitty is a spinoff to the hit franchise To All the Boys I've Loved Before. So were you a fan of the original?
Uh, Unfortunately, I was not. I only started watching the movies when the audition kind of slid under my door. But I was kind of aware of what that franchise meant to Asian representation, especially in the US. So it's not like I wasn't like an avid watcher, but I'd heard about it.
Right. We're on the same page.
Yeah, it was
Okay, cool.
it was definitely such a talk. We were talking about this before, like how everyone was talking about this like during the pandemic. Like it was just everyone was just obsessed with All the Boys I've Loved Before. So we understand what you mean. So how was it filming on location in Korea?
Oh, Korea is so amazing. If you have not been to Korea, you need to go like next week because there is so much to do. And I don't think for even 1 second when we weren't filming, like we would always be hanging out, whether if that was in the hotel together or we'd go exploring. And because we also filmed not just in Seoul, but a whole bunch of different locations around Seoul, it really gave us a good sense of the city, the community, the culture as well. It's just such an incredible place to be, just for food and things to do every day. So I would highly recommend you go.
I was just about to say, how was the food? I bet it was amazing.
Oh my gosh, food is another level. It's seriously just another level of yummy and cheap as well. And everyone's like, well, the Korean barbecue have got their little own niche thing that they do. So whether that's like a specific cut of pork or beef or something like that, amazing.
I love K barbecue. Like
Me too.
I can only imagine it actually like in Korea. I'm sure it tastes delicious. Now I'm hungry.
So I know your character in the show is searching for his birth family, and interestingly, you're also searching for your birth family in real life. So could you tell us the story behind that?
Yeah, so I'm an adopted Korean. I was adopted at 6 months by my two beautiful parents. And basically, I didn't think much of it until I was 19 when I had a very early quarter life crisis. As I think most, young adolescents have somewhat of their identity and not really knowing what they want to do. But kind of as that feeling grew, I was this close to just booking a flight to Korea, going and trying to find my mother. The big issue with this situation is that I really don't know much about her at all. I know that she was very young and that I hope it brought her a little bit more stability, maybe giving me away. But I didn't get left with a last name. So I know my Korean name's Hyochal, but Kim, which is on my birth certificate, apparently is not the actual last name that I would have had. So of course that makes it incredibly hard to track down. Ancestry tests, especially in the US and Australia, they don't go down into like the genetic level of, especially somewhere in Asia, they tend to just be like, oh, you are from Asia. And I'm like, yes, I knew that. And that makes everything a little more difficult, of course. But I think as I was working on Exo Kitty and being back in Korea, that started to kind of spur a little bit more passion to be like, oh, I'm not actively looking right now because I feel like in my own life, my parents, my adopted parents have been so fantastic in raising me in Australia. But like I said, it's starting to kind of uh, like there's a small little light that's beginning to shine that I might want to start the search again and look a lot more seriously this time.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I just wanted to share my story. It's very similar.
Yeah.
I had a quarter life crisis similar to you at the end of college, and I just became obsessed with my genealogy. I was told I was Italian my entire life, and then
Mm.
just dove into it. And it's similar. It's probably not as hard to find information as it is for maybe Asian countries, but in Italy, I was over here like translating Italian because their birth records are like still in paper. And long story short, I ended up finding that my father is a completely different person. I found out I have different siblings. And so I really like had the urge to dive into all this the same way you are. And by the way,
Mm.
there's no shame in wanting to know your birth family, even though you have an amazing family already. Because
Mm.
beyond the family aspect, I mean, it's good to know where you come from a genetic standpoint, from a previous health records sort of thing as well. But so I can relate to you on that, like wanting to find where you came from. And, it finally reached a head when I found out who these people are. I got to not over Zoom, but I met all my siblings and everything. I haven't met them in
Oh my
person yet.
gosh.
So I wish you the best on that. I was actually going to ask if you've done an ancestry test. I know it's probably a little muddy with Asian countries because it's not the same as it is here. But so have you done a DNA test yet or no?
I haven't done one. I was looking up some stuff in Korea that can help that helps adoptive Koreans find their birth parents, but I haven't done it yet. I mean to be honest, like I even though I had that little like moment, I don't really lose sleep over not knowing who
Right.
my real mother is. And I think it's something that when I do end up investigating, it's I want it to be a time where it can add to my life and not create stress in my life. Because it would be undoubtedly an extremely stressful process. Going back to Korea, I have no idea. I don't know where she is. She could be in Seoul. I'm originally from Daegu, which is I think about 4 hours out of Seoul. I could be wrong. Um, so really, I think tracking down would be a task. And once I do go face to face, the last thing I want to be doing is breaking down or being really upset because that's just not how I feel personally. I know people who do feel like that and almost detest the idea of seeing their adopted parents. But for me, I'm thankful for her and I'm thankful for my real parents. Sorry, my adopted parents for raising me the way that I was able to be.
And
Definitely.
that's such a great mindset to have. Your mentality is like really on. That's a good place to be at. When it comes to thinking about this, because like you said, it's a very emotional thing, so it can go either way. This person might not be the person that you imagine. So just the fact that you are so grounded in that's so good.
And I
Yeah,
was
it's
on the
like
same wavelength as well about the specifically the parent was my father, but how you feel about meeting your mother. But one thing I don't know why I didn't think about this during the investigating and everything is it just didn't even come to my mind that I could have siblings, I could have cousins. So to me, like in hindsight, that's the exciting part for me. Of course,
mm,
it's nice to know who birthed me or whatever, but it's nice to know that I have cousins and siblings my age. Like it's really interesting. So I definitely hope in the future or just whenever the time is right for you that you get to have that feeling as well.
yeah, and I'll just touch on that for a second because back on the Gold Coast where I was raised, we've had a big community of adopted Koreans that were kind of adopted around the same time, and I've got a sister Julia who's also an adopted Korean. We're not biological, But they kind of, that community that was fostered on the Gold Coast really they feel like my brother and sisters, and I still chat with them a lot. And they're like, it's great to have those people to bounce those feelings off and to feel heard. Because it's not, I mean, everyone goes through identity crises and belonging, but I think it's something a little different to talking to someone else who's going through the same thing.
Definitely.
For sure.
Mm.
So is there anything you want audiences to know about the show, about you, about your character, before we get into the last part of the interview?
I think Exo Kitty is so much fun. And not only that, it delves into a lot of really great topics in terms of ethnicity and diversity. And I think Jenny and Sasha have tackled it really well and been very, very inclusive. They're super inclusive in the development process of the show. And so I think almost everyone's really excited to show that part.
That's awesome. And so just to end everything out, we have just a few questions, Spitfire questions to ask you.
Okay.
Say whatever first comes to mind.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and get it started. The first one is, have you ever had a pen pal or been in a long distance relationship?
No. No. And to be honest, that sounds really hard. So I don't think I want to do that.
I tried long distance before and it's not for me. I need to see you in person. I like to, hug you. Let's go out to dinner in person. Like I couldn't just have a relationship just through words and video chats. So
you need that physical touch. You need the physical touch. The love language.
Yes.
So next is, what is the craziest thing that you've ever done for love?
Craziest thing I've ever done for love. Oh, I have no idea. I feel like I'm a head over heels romantic. So what is the craziest thing I have done for love? I feel like for me, it's such a hard question. Give me like 10 seconds.
I told you, Savannah, this is going to be a tough one.
Yeah, you did say that.
Maybe you just haven't done the craziest thing yet.
I don't think I've done like something that is insane.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, one of a partner I had, I guess I went to like, when I was in the US, I bought her this like pair of roller skates and I had to like do a whole bunch of stuff to do that. But other than that, I haven't done anything insane. Like,
that's good though. That's good that you haven't done anything crazy or bad. That means that, you're in a healthy mindset. You know what I'm saying? Your relationships have been good. So that's awesome. That's actually a great answer for it.
Okay, great. I probably could do something crazy, but maybe in the future, we'll see. Maybe I'll have another midlife crisis and I'll have to do something.
Listen, so much life to live. You never know what might happen, for sure. So have you ever played matchmaker for any friends or family?
Oh, I haven't really played matchmaker, but my two really close friends, I threw a lot of parties when I was in high school and through college, and I think two of my friends, Josh and Giselle, they met at my party, and they'd known each other for ages in school, but then as soon as they left school, they reconnected that party, and I remember they were like sitting and chatting for like 4 hours, and everyone was like, oh, and they're still together like 6 years later, 5 years later.
Wow. So I think you can take credit for that. Yeah, you can take credit for that. That's cool.
So who is your celebrity crush?
Celebrity crush? Stephen Young.
Stephen Young. Perfect.
Mine too.
I just love him. I love everything that he does, and I think he's been a really great person to. He gives me a lot of inspiration for not only just acting, but also just how he's approached his career.
Yeah, definitely. We interviewed somebody from Beef a few weeks ago, so.
Oh, I love Beef.
Yeah.
Seriously, best show.
My favorite show.
I love it. It'll be the best show on Netflix until XO Kitty comes out.
All right, so our final question is, if you're into K-dramas, what is your favorite Korean drama?
Favorite Korean drama? I'll have to try and remember the name, because I remember all the plot lines and what goes on, but I'll have to try and remember the names. There was, there's actually this really great show called Mad for Love on Netflix. And I just love the tonality of the show. The two main characters are great. Their like first interaction is just amazing. And they're just like these really wacky characters, and it's so well done. Plus with like the genre shifts in the show, I highly recommend it. It's probably not like a traditional, like fun, like romance K-drama. It's a little more crazy. But in terms of like just the general like gist of it, I love it.